Since 1914, they've been playing on the corner of Clark and Addison. The Bambino's called shot adds to a storied history where legends and Ivy collide. From Fergie to Ernie to Hawk. Today, the Marlins and Cubs step back into time on a Throwback Sunday. A very windy afternoon in Chicago. That's, of course, the Windy City. The Marlins and the Cubs, and the Marlins trying to prevent from getting swept out of here. The Cubs have won the first two of this series, and it is a Throwback Sunday indeed. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Throwback Sunday means throwback uniforms. The Marlins will be wearing the uniforms of the 1946 Sun Sox. That was a Class B team that played in Miami. The Cubs, their throwback, 1942.
I think we have a little throwback in the temperature as well in this one. The wind is blowing in much cooler than the first couple of games of this series. But I'll tell you what, I always enjoy these throwback type games because of the uniforms. They look cool.
Marlins and Cubs both entered this series on a nice hot streak. The Cubs have continued it, and they've done it with some timely hitting, some timely home runs.
Yeah, it's been a big series for Anthony Rizzo. He had a double. He had a big home run in the first game of this series. He's 4 for 9 in the series. That was his two-base hit. His home run was a game winner. So Anthony Rizzo not only having a terrific season for the Cubs, he's having a solid series against the Marlins. How about Junior Lake? Second time in his career he's had a two-homer game, and it came against the Marlins yesterday. Both blasts into left field. He's a guy who's an all-out guy as far as his swing. Sometimes he strikes out a little bit too much. But there's a look at the streak that the Cubs have been on. Their longest of the season. They're scoring, they're pitching. We knew that when the Marlins came into this series, they'd face some good pitchers. They have. Saw Jason Hamill in the first game. They saw Jeff Samardzija in the ball game yesterday. So they've seen some of that good pitching.
Speaking of pitching, if you're a pitcher, this is where you want to be on this Sunday. The wind's coming in about 20-25 miles an hour from left center field. So for a guy like Henderson Alvarez, these environs will be quite kind.
Yeah, this is a great place. Plus, you have the central cut infield grass. And Henderson Alvarez, how about the streak he's on? You see his record. All three of those wins are shutouts. All three of those wins are pitching at home. So he's looking for his first road victory. He's on a stretch right now of 21 consecutive shutout innings. He's got the breaking ball. He's got the power changeup. He feels his position. He helps himself with the bat. We saw him do that in his last outing.
And, of course, a nice run of shutouts. He's got 4 shutouts in his last 13 starts. And there he is, sporting the Sun Sox uni. I think that windup of his will look good. And that's what a 1942 Cub looks like. That's Jake Arrieta.
Well, you see the numbers on Arrieta. At times he can go a little too deep in counts. He'll get ahead. He'll nibble a little bit. But as Rich and I said, this is a great day for pitchers. When you get ahead and you're a pitcher, either Arrieta or Henderson Alvarez, you got to go right at the hitters because it's going to take a bolt to hit one out to left field.
So what are the stories behind the uniforms? What do the players think of Throwback Sunday? Allison Williams, when we return, has that. It's the Sun Sox against the 42 Cubs here today from Wrigley Field. The 100th anniversary, the 101st year of baseball here at Wrigley Field. Darlin Castro, JT Real Muto, Anthony Rizzo, even Henderson Alvarez looking good in the throwback unis. Let's go down to Allison Williams. No throwback for us, though, Allie. We didn't get those unis, did we?
No, we did not. You got a hat, though, Waltzy, so that's a nice hookup there. Throwback day here at Wrigley Field. 10th time this year the Cubs will wear throwback uniforms, the 4th time they have so far. And they look good, the 1942 Cubbies. And for the Marlins, it's the Miami Sun Sox uniforms, the simple gray with the black letters and numbers, Miami on the front, the block M on the hat. They look good. A lot of the guys opting to wear the pants high, the high socks, the stirrups, so real throwback look. So who exactly were the Miami Sun Sox, you may ask? Well, they were an affiliate of the Brooklyn Dodgers. They played in 1940s. Back in 40 and 41, they were actually the Wahoos, 42 the Seminoles, and then there was no team during World War II. The Sun Sox, they were in 46 and also 49 to 54. Miami tourists in between there. And you know what? They were a good club in 50 and 52. They were league champs managed by Pepper Martin, the MLB All-Star. So a different look here for the Miami Marlins today. They are the Miami Sun Sox. So what do the guys think of the new unis?
Well, there's a lot of color in them. They got black and they got white, just like the video. So,
Gray, a little gray.
Oh yeah, sorry, gray and black, not black and white, but it's about the same. So they're all right. They're a little different from ours, but it's a good cause for Wrigley. 100 years of Wrigley and all the history that's been here.
There's a lot less colors involved in these jerseys, but you know, it's a cool look, gray with black writing, and you know, kind of goes well with our pants.
I think they're pretty cool. It's a little chillier today too, and they're a little thicker, so that's a bonus. But you know, it's always cool to wear the throwback jerseys and you know, kind of go back to the old school style thing, especially at Wrigley Field. You know, to be able to do it here is pretty cool. So I'm going with the high pants today, and you know, show off the socks and go really old school. So.
With the Marlins rocking the throwbacks, the big question for Giancarlo Stanton, what's he going to do about the sleeve? He didn't pack a black one, so he's rocking the orange, but a little black over it as well. So some pops of color here and there. A couple of the guys have the wristbands on as well, the orange wristband. And it's chilly here in Chicago, so the sweatshirts are being worn by a lot of the bullpen guys trying to keep warm on this cool and breezy day here in Chicago. The wind really coming in off the lake today. And the high pants look good. I got to say, the more I see these, the more I like them. And when you see them collectively all together, it's a really good look. Now, here in Chicago, it's a little odd because they almost remind you of the Chicago White Sox a little bit, the colors. But I like them. Very different look for Miami. Miami, you usually think the bright colors, but today, simple gray and black Miami Sun Sox and the Chicago Cubs of the 42 season squaring off today at Wrigley. More coming up when we return. We'll go back to the South Florida studio, join Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson as we get set for Game 3, Cubs and Marlins.
Toyota, let's go places. By AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability, 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Feed your craving for quality for only $1. Cha-ching. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. The Chicago River and Wrigley Field, and a windy, blustery afternoon here. It does not feel like early June. It feels like early April.
It's the kind of day that, as you look at the lineup, go ahead, Rich. You can give the lineup. We'll talk about the kind of day it is.
JM Lexus brings you this lineup. Christian Yelich, Ed Lucas, Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee, a good road trip. Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna, JT Real Muto, Adeiny Echeverria, and Henderson Alvarez will do the pitching.
Yeah, it's the kind of day as Jake Arrieta gets loose that you could have shorts and a tank top in the outfield, the bleachers, and you could have a parka up in the second deck. Jake Arrieta, 28 years old, started the year. He had some shoulder tightness in spring training, so he actually had 5 starts in A-ball and Double-A. So this is only his 7th start of the year. He's only gone 6 innings 2 times in his previous 6 outings. He can get a little nibbly on the mound. He can get ahead, and then all of a sudden you see a 3-2 count. But pretty good stuff. A guy who last year spent some time with the Orioles as well as the Cubs.
So there's the sun. Got a Marlin fan out there. Some shorts and shirt sleeves, and then you go to the shade, and man, are people bundled up. I know Andre Dawson is not with us, other than someone already has a Sunsock cap.
Yeah, I like that.
Andre Dawson is not with us on this trip, but the Hawk is here. And that is that cold wind that comes off of the lake. It's going to be a tough day for the hitters. And you would think a good day for the pitchers. Here's the defense for the Cubs.
Not to mention a challenge for the defenders. There's the defense. Be alive for that win. Coughlin, Junior Lake, and Nate Shearholtz in that outfield for the Cubs. Valbuena and Castro on the left side. Bonifacio moves in to play second base. Anthony Rizzo, what a nice series he's had. He's 4 for 9 with 4 RBIs in the series. And our good friend John Baker behind the plate. And the Cubs this year, when Baker has started, have played very well. They're 9-7 in his 16 starts.
There's your Hawk flag that is getting whipped around like just about everybody else here at Wrigley Field. So here we go. A little Throwback Sunday. Christian Yelich sporting the high socks, the Sunsock uniform. Pitch Penny brings you the first pitch. Jake Arrieta of the 42 Cubs delivers. And a fastball misses down low. And for Yelich, a 3 for 10 series. Yelich and the Marlins yesterday off to a pretty good start. Yelich singled and homered. The homer came in the 3rd inning. Marlins had a short-lived lead, though. The Cubs ended up winning the ball game 5-2, hitting 3 home runs, all of them coming from the top of the order. Emilio Bonifacio, Junior Lake hit a couple. Yelich's homer was into the wind into right center field, and so it was an impressive shot.
You want to see Christian Yelich just carry over a number of good games in a row. He'll give you those flashes, but if you look back on May 1st, Christian Yelich was hitting .292. But it was good to see him swing the bat the way he did in the ball game yesterday. This ball was hit well off Jeff Samardzija because there was a little wind blowing in, and he hit that to a deep part of this ballpark.
Cubs have won 5 in a row. Marlins have dropped the first 2 of this 3-game set and came in with a 4-game win streak that was snapped on Friday night. The Marlins tied for 2nd in the East, along with Washington, a game behind Atlanta, while the Cubs reside in the basement of the Central. Yelich dumps that one into left center field, a base hit. And so Christian Yelich opens the ball game with a hit.
I'm not sure how many times, if we could ever keep track of this, but he does such a great job early in the game as the leadoff hitter. So many times at first AB, he sees a lot of pitches and sees a 3-2 count.
A lot of deep counts. And that helps the guys like Lucas and Stanton and everybody paying attention on the bench.
I think little ball is going to be important today because it's going to be tough to hit one out to left. So you get base runners, you're going to have to try to do a few things to get a run or two.
And that means your pitcher's defense, your ability to move runners, a stolen base. Strike to Ed Lucas. A couple hits in this series for Lucas. That came back on the Friday night game, which was extra innings. 13-inning game. Lucas actually had 6 at-bats and a couple of singles. John Baker behind the plate. And Yelich is running. Lucas is hitting, and he dribbles it back to Arrieta, who fires to first. Good jump by Yelich, and Lucas protecting him. That brings up Stanton with a runner at second base.
I'm going to guess a hit and run, but maybe we'll see if Christian Yelich looks. He really didn't look, so it might have been a straight steal. Sometimes if you're a hitter, in the case of Ed Lucas, you see the runner take off, and you get a pitch that you think you can do something with, you go ahead and swing. But Lucas tapped that one back to the mound, but Yelich is at second.
Now Stanton, and as we documented on Marlins Live, for Stanton, it's been an interesting series. Stanton's first 8 at-bats, he struck out 6 times. And then his last 2 at-bats in yesterday's ball game, he hit a laser beam double that was clocked at 111, 112 miles an hour, and then a drive to center that the wind caught and dropped right at the base of the wall. And Arrieta being cautious with him, falls behind 2-0.
You talked to him today, and he said he thought he got that one, didn't he?
He did. He did, but the wind has shifted, coming in from right center yesterday. Today, straight in from left. Runner goes. Yelich, good jump, and he steals it. Well, for Christian Yelich, it's 9 stolen bases, and it's a big bag to get. That's third base with 1 out.
This really takes a heads-up play by a base runner, because there really isn't a sign to steal third. You get the go-ahead, and if you get a good jump, if you feel that you've gotten a good lead and a good jump, it's all on you. So that was a good jump and a nice steal by Christian Yelich.
And that one was all on Jake Arrieta. He did not give John Baker even a chance. Stanton a rip on a 3-0 pitch, and he fouls it back. It's 3-1.
Well, he has the infield back, so ground balls should get Yelich in from third.
It's an interesting number there for Stanton. He's not been real successful in this spot, even though he leads the National League in RBI. He fouls it back to the screen.
This is where Giancarlo has to get back into that mode that we've talked so much about this year. That mode of driving in a run without a base hit, without a home run. Just making some contact. He's going to have to change his swing here on a 3-2 pitch.
See, at 53 runs driven in. Let's see what the Cubs dial up here. Arrieta, breaking ball, struck him out. And so a big strikeout for Arrieta. Yelich is still at third. Here comes McKee.
Well, and after a couple of fastballs, 3-0 and then 3-1, he got the big breaking ball, and it was a perfect pitch by Arrieta.
Well, if you had to choose a guy from the Marlins roster to hit in this spot with 2 outs and a runner at third, it would be Casey McGee. That RBI number 38 on a ground ball out yesterday in the 6th. That won't do it here. There's 2 outs. He's looking for a base hit. A strike.
Interesting defense on the right side of the infield. Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman, way off the line. They're trying to close that hole between first and second. And we've seen Casey get a lot of base hits there.
Arrieta quickly out in front 0-2.
Well, let's check the scouting report. Got good movement on his pitches. A late breaking slider. It's probably the pitch he threw to Giancarlo. Got to make him throw strikes because he'll go deep into counts.
0-2 misses down low. As you saw that look at Arrieta, the Cubs uniforms in 1942 obviously had the Cubs logo, but see the patch, the health patch. That was a patch that the Cubs every year would change, and it had to do with the wartime initiative from Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Health was the patch and the initiative in 42. Cubs also, interestingly enough, famous for playing day games here until they finally put lights in. In the early 40s, they had purchased lights, and they were ready to put lights in here at Wrigley Field, but the war started, and the Cubs ended up donating the lights to the Army, the steal of the lights, to the wartime effort.
This is a perfect example of Jake Arrieta. He got ahead 0-2, and all of a sudden now with some patience, the count is 3-2. It's his third full count of this first inning.
Yelich, a base hit and a steal of third. Garrett Jones on deck. 3-2. Got him outside corner. McGee didn't like it. Turns around and barks at Marcus Patillo, the home plate umpire. Mike Redmond is out quickly to try to keep his third baseman in the game.
A well-rounded pitcher. He's unique. I think there's a word for him. He's unique.
Shirt askew. He is unique. He is Henderson Alvarez, and he's pitching against the Cubs. Alvarez numbers this year, all 3 of his wins at home and all of them shutouts. He's got 21 consecutive scoreless innings going into this ball game. And look, Alvarez is buttoning the shirt up, trying to make sure he has the right button in the right spot and that Miami lines up, and it does. So let's see if he gives it the old time wind up before first pitch here to Emilio Bonifacio. Yep, there he goes. Bonifacio was so surprised he called timeout. He didn't know what the heck was going on.
He saw Henderson step forward to begin that windup.
All right, here he goes. Fastball for a strike. He scared the daylights out of Bonifacio. And the count is 0-1. Bonifacio, Junior Lake, and Anthony Rizzo. It was something that Alvarez came up with, he said, in the minor leagues. Just either out of boredom, out of creativity.
I would say creativity.
Yeah. It's Henderson being Henderson, so to speak. And he has used it, although he did forget to do it one time this year. And he said he just flat forgot.
You know what's interesting? Word's going to get out because every time he does it, he throws a fastball. Some leadoff hitter is going to jump on that first pitch fastball.
Bonifacio, a couple hits, and it was a home run yesterday for Bonifacio to left. This is a single to left. And now the cat and mouse game begins pretty quickly. Bonifacio aboard at first, and terrific speed. Cubs lineup. Bonifacio at the top is brought to you by JM Lexus. Junior late. Anthony Rizzo is hot. Starlin Castro in the cleanup spot. Luis Valbuena back at third. The lefty bats are back in, obviously, against Alvarez. Nate Shearholtz. Chris Coughlin has had a good series. John Baker behind the plate, and Jake Arrieta hitting ninth. 13 stolen bases, been caught 4 times. Alvarez is pretty good at keeping runners close and getting to the plate quickly. He's got a rookie catcher working with him, and JT Realmuto.
It's an interesting decision by Mike Redmond, and it shows you the confidence he has in the youngster JT Realmuto, because remember the last time Henderson pitched, he threw that shutout and Jeff Mathis was behind the plate. A lot of managers will stick with that, but Red made the decision.
Broken bat. Lucas has to get it on a hop. The bat ends up behind Alvarez. Everybody's okay. And there's one out. The Cubs have a runner in scoring position. Defense a key in this one.
Yeah, it is. Bright sunshine, lots of wind. Be alive in the outfield. Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton. You've seen that before. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones in the corners. Echeverria and Lucas up the middle. And there is Jacob Realmuto behind the plate.
Watch the shattered bat here. Right on the hands of Lake, who homered twice yesterday. Rizzo, of course, homered on Friday in the 13th inning. Anthony's had really solid swings.
Got to be careful, and Henderson Alvarez is, with Bonifacio at second, and also with Casey McGee off the line. So he's got a ways to go to third if Bonifacio takes off.
We said it earlier. For pitchers, this is premium conditions. Thick infield grass. Wind coming in from left at about 25 miles an hour. Especially Alvarez, who is a here it is, hit it kind of pitcher. He doesn't mess around and nibble. He'll come right after you with his fastball and that power changeup.
He's kind of the opposite of Jake Arrieta, who does nibble. And as we saw, had 3 full counts in the first inning.
Rizzo chops it wide of Eric Hinske, who looks, I think, the best of all the throwbacks. It's got to be Eric Hinske, who is the first base coach of the Cubs. Anybody that's a little chunky or doesn't, you know, isn't tall and slender really fits into the throwback unis.
Had quite a career. Former Rookie of the Year in the American League.
Runner goes and out at third base. And that's a strike him out, throw him out, double play. Rizzo strikes out. Realmuto throws out Bonifacio. And a great way to finish the bottom of the first for the Fish. And just like that, the inning is over. throw him out double play with a rookie catcher throwing out Emilio Bonifacio. The play was very close at third. In fact, Bonifacio stood at third for a minute, almost as if he was waiting for his manager to come out and challenge.
You and I had a chance 3 or 4 times to look at different angles in the break. It's really hard to tell. Does he get him on the forearm before the hand hits the bag? Maybe, but it appeared to be a play that Rick Renteria could have challenged. He didn't. But how about credit to JT Realmuto getting the start and coming up and firing out. Bonifacio has 13 steals this year.
And so the Marlins go to work in the second. And it's Garrett Jones who told Allison before the ball game that he was really into the throwbacks. He was going to go with the high socks. He's not a guy that is a high sock guy, but he's short in the pants. He's gone with the high socks.
They had a chance to have that look a few times as a Pirate. Sure, the Pirates came up with some nice throwback unis.
Probably back into the 70s. They probably had about a dozen to choose from the 70s. They were one of those teams that had a bazillion combinations.
It was. I mean, you'd play the Pirates and
Jones cranks one right field. It's hit pretty well. And it is caught at the ivy.
Wow.
Shearholtz caught it. Man, Jones can't believe it. He's at second and was already making the turn to third. He really got into that ball.
Well, we told you at the onset, right field might be your best bet to hit one out, but I'm going to retract that because that ball was hit as well as any, and Shearholtz was able to chase it down. He's a really good outfielder. Timed it well. And Arrieta gave it a woo because he knew that ball was going to be out on most days.
Not today, not at Wrigley. And here's Ozuna.
Yeah, the Pirates, you wouldn't know if they were going to be all black, all gold, golden black. They had all kinds of outfits and different ones.
Love the flags out in center field that have the standings in the National League. Ozuna rolls one Bonifacio's way, and he gets the out. 2 outs.
Garrett Jones just saying, boy, I hit it at the wrong time. Any other time.
All-Star voting. Of course, the All-Star game on Fox on July 15th. If you vote at Marlins.com, a maximum of 25 times, you'll receive 4 Marlin tickets for just $20. Voting ends July 3rd. Go to Marlins.com and vote today. Vote 25 times. Speaking of All-Stars, this is a Southern League All-Star at the plate. JT Realmuto has been named to the Southern League All-Star team. There were 4 players off that Jacksonville team. Justin Nicolino, outfielder Brady Shoemaker, and Andrew Heaney, who's been promoted to New Orleans. So 2 of the 4 will be able to play in the AA All-Star game.
And speaking of Andrew Heaney, he was an 8-2 winner last night for New Orleans. 6 innings, 5 hits, gave up just 1 run, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. So in AAA, Heaney's 3-0 with a 2.74 ERA. Just thought I'd mention that.
The wind is also going to blow any pop-up that's near the foul line way into the seats, and that one ends up there.
And by the way, in that ball game, in that game that Heaney won, Derek Dietrich had a 2-for-4 night with a home run.
Realmuto was one of the offensive leaders in the Southern League. One of the guys he was battling is the Cubs' top prospect, Chris Bryant, who now has 20 home runs on the season. Bouncer to short. Castro, wow, that was close. Realmuto got down the line. It's a 9-pitch inning, scoreless game. 101st season of baseball here at Wrigley Field, built back in 1914. You see the friendly confines holds just under 42,000. Yeah, they put the bleachers in. I mean, the ballpark essentially is the same dimension-wise, ivy-wise, bleacher-wise. Lights were installed in '88. It was the first park to allow fans to keep foul balls. But, of course, I don't know if it was this ballpark, but it became very, very popular to throw home runs back in the 70s and 80s. They were the industry leader in that category. It's a safe thing to say. Starling Castro, Luis Valbuena, and Nate Schierholtz.
Or to keep them if a Cub hits them, as we saw the guy yesterday who was taunting after he caught that Junior Lake home run.
Swing and a miss, and Henderson Alvarez looks sharp in this one. Strikes out Rizzo and Castro. Valbuena is coming up, and so is the AT&T fan photo. Hashtag FL fan photo. And you could be part of the telecast. Tommy and I took a selfie before the ball game.
Did you submit that?
I have submitted it. I don't know. I don't like our chances because we're not in the selection committee.
It was a good selfie, though.
It was. Valbuena now.
Of course, in the lineup today for the Cubs, they've loaded up with left-handers, as they did in the first game of this series.
Rick Renteria, skipper. Alvarez started to wind up. Valbuena called timeout. And there's that slow breaking ball. And it's almost Alvarez saying, all right, you want to try to slow me down? I'll slow you down.
So that's 9 consecutive strikes that he's thrown as well.
And now Valbuena takes time and steps out of the box.
Anderson Alvarez is a great guy to play behind on defense.
Wow. Pretty good fastball. You got a young umpire behind home plate in Marcus Patillo.
Wow.
And
that's closer than the pitch to Casey McGee that he called McGee out on.
Yeah, that pitch was out on Fox Tracks, the McGee strike 3. So the count even at 2-2. Alvarez last time out, of course, the shutout of the Rays. His previous start lasted just 5 innings, but that wasn't because he was ineffective. That was because he felt some tightness in his elbow. And so what does he do after that? He comes back in 88 pitches. He throws his 4th shutout in his last 13 starts, and that goes back to the no-hitter at the end of last year.
In his career against the Cubs, Alvarez had 1 start, and it was here. It was at Wrigley Field. Gave up 7 hits and 3 runs in 6 innings. And he was the winning pitcher.
I believe he homered in that ball game, too.
He's got good memories of Wrigley Field.
And there's that changeup at 89 miles an hour, a swing and a miss. And he struck out 3 in a row now. Alvarez looks crisp. And there's 2 outs for Schierholtz.
What you see and why he's crisp, you see lots of strikes, the fastball velocity's there, and that changeup, that last pitch to strike out Valbuena was a beauty.
To me, it's amazing that an 89, 90, sometimes even at 91 mile an hour pitch has that much movement on it. Because that pitch really died at the end. Broken bat, roller. Lucas has it. Alvarez is carving up the Cubs. Marlins and Cubs scoreless on a Throwback Sunday in Chicago. Scoreless ball game in the third here at Wrigley. Let's check in with Allison Williams. Dub?
Throwback day here at Wrigley. The Cubs rocking uniforms from their 1942 season. The Miami Marlins wearing the Miami Sun Sox unis, the minor league affiliate in the 40s and 50s of the Brooklyn Dodgers. So they got into the feel of the throwback day on Twitter as well. The Marlins tweeting as if it's 1946, saying one day in the future some sort of movable umbrella contraption will cover the field. LOL, yeah right, tweets from 1946. Also saying word has it there's a 15-year-old ball player out there with the future ahead of him. Good luck, Jack McKeon. Hashtag tweets from 1946. Marlins on social media getting into the throwback vibe as well. And there's also information there, guys, if you're interested, you want to pick up one of these Sun Sox hats or jerseys, they're available in the Marlins team store.
They are. And tell Robin that Allison, Rich, and Tommy sent you.
That won't give you a discount, but it'll bring a smile to Robin's face.
We don't get a kickback on that. The other thing of it, the gift shop also has those collegiate Marlin caps. Remember we had those on the telecast? They sold out of those, and now they have a new shipment in. So plenty of new caps when you come to Marlins Park, or if you're around downtown, you can stop by at Marlins Park. It's open during the day. One-two pitch. And Echeverria swings and misses. He did not look comfortable up there against Jake Arrieta. AT&T Rewind. We told you about Henderson Alvarez liking the ivy. He almost had a bat flip there. That was last September.
Rounded the bases like he'd done it 30 or 40 times. I believe that was the left-hander, Travis Wood.
Alvarez at Wrigley, 2 for 2, drove in 3 runs. And he's old school without the batting gloves.
And took a heck of a rip at that pitch.
He's got 4 hits on the year. Miami has just 1 hit, first time through the order, and that was Yelich. He was on deck.
Henderson Alvarez, early in the year, Marlins had one of those long games and running out of players. He would have been the guy off the bench as a possible pinch hitter.
And Mike Redmond said yesterday in his press conference talking about Alvarez that Alvarez is his guy. He's his pitcher designated pinch hitter. He would pinch run with him, and he said in a pinch, if it got into a crazy extra inning game and he ran out of infielders, he would put Alvarez out there in the infield. Swing and a miss, ball in the dirt. Alvarez will trot down to first, and he's thrown out by John Baker. And so both pitchers look exceptionally sharp here. Arrieta strikes out 4 of the first 9 that he faces. Alvarez has struck out 3 of the first 6 he's faced. So scoreless here, the third. And Yelich back up. Biggest at bat of the ballgame so far was that of Giancarlo Stanton, with Christian Yelich at third base. Stanton actually had a 3-0 count.
He missed a couple of fastballs that Arrieta came with, and then on the 3-2 pitch threw him a pretty good slider.
Arrieta out of Plano, Texas. Been parts of 4 years in Baltimore's rotation.
He came over And that deal from Baltimore with Pedro Strop picked up the save yesterday.
Misses up. He doesn't walk a lot of people. Just 13 walks. This is start number 7, and Arrieta with a 3-1 to Yelich.
Yeah, we talked earlier that Arrieta had some shoulder tightness in the spring, so actually started the year in A-ball and Double-A. Had about 5 starts in the minor leagues.
Jake Arrieta. What are you wearing, Jake Arrieta?
Khakis.
At 25 miles an hour, it's going to be a tough day to get one out of here. Garrett Jones blasted one, but it landed at the base of the ivy in the glove of Nate Shearholtz. And a scoreless game, bottom of the 3rd. Chris Coghlan, John Baker, a couple ex-Marlins to start the inning. Henderson Alvarez gets a strike. Coghlan looks good in the throwback.
That's a good look on it. Cogs came up on May 3rd. He'd been in AAA. Ryan Sweeney went on the disabled list. So the Cubs will have to make a decision when Sweeney's able to play.
Coghlan fouls it at the plate.
Each inning that Henderson Alvarez goes without allowing a run, he continues to add to his streak. So 23 consecutive shutout innings now for Henderson Alvarez.
Javi Vasquez has the club record at 29. He set that in that incredible September of 2011. In the hole, Echeverria, and Coghlan's going to get there with a base hit. So an infield hit for Coghlan. When the Marlins get back, the Pirates will be waiting for them. And on Friday the 13th, it is a Friday happy hour special at the Budweiser Bowtie Bar, featuring $4 domestic drafts from 5:30 to 6:30, and then after the game you've got fireworks. So a happy hour at the Budweiser Bar, and then fireworks after the ball game. Marlins.com for tickets. It's Marlins and it's Pirates.
There's another guy who looks good in the throwback uni.
Well, the Cubs are used to this. They've done this a lot this year in this 100th anniversary season. Baker, line drive. McGee spears it. Boy, Bake robbed of a hit.
Well, that's great reactions by Casey McGee because that ball was smoked by John Baker. Well positioned off the line. If he's not positioned in that right spot, he doesn't make that play.
And here is Jake. Not from State Farm, but from Plano, Texas. This is the 4th of 10 throwback days for the Cubs as far as the uniforms go. Arrieta fouls it at the plate. Their first throwback was way back. It was actually back to 1914. The Federal Leagues, Chicago Feds and the Kansas City Packers. The Diamondbacks played the role of the Packers. Alvarez pounces, fires wide. I think it kept Echeverria from turning a double play, but he kept his foot on the bag and gets the out. Alvarez did that exceptionally well his last start, Tommy. He had 2 1-6-3 double plays.
We saw him do that. We saw him get a base hit in the inning to keep the inning alive where the Marlins scored their 1 run. So he does things to help himself. Throw was a little wide, but still there are a lot of pitchers who don't even attempt that throw. They go for the sure out at first base. So once again, a good athletic play by Henderson Alvarez.
Coughlin erased. Here's Bonifacio.
The other thing that does, it takes a speedier runner, a more experienced runner off the bases, and it puts the pitcher, Arrieta, on the bases.
If you missed the first pitch by Henderson Alvarez today, you know that Alvarez, if you're a Marlins fan, does the old-fashioned windup. Liner into right field, a base hit by Bonifacio. And so Alvarez went into that windup, and it startled Bonifacio, who was the leadoff hitter for the Cubs, so much that Bonifacio jumped out of the box like something was wrong because Alvarez takes that step before the big dipsy-do windup.
Well, it hasn't affected Bonifacio. He has 2 line drive base hits.
1 to each field. 1 to right, 1 to left. Junior Lake had his bat shattered by Alvarez. And a breaking ball misses away. Of course, Lake was big yesterday with the 2 solo homers. And impressive, too, with the wind coming in from right center. Though the ball did carry pretty well to left field. Bonifacio hit one out to left.
Well, it was the second time in Junior Lake's young career that he's hit 2 home runs in a game.
Junior Lake takes a healthy cut, doesn't he?
Junior Lake has 1 swing, and it's healthy.
He's got that Carlos Gomez cut. He's got 8 homers and has driven in 23. That one almost hit him. Alvarez backs him up.
Well, the Cubs would be happy if in a few years he turns into a Carlos Gomez type.
No kidding. And Carlos Gomez and his pals, the rest of the beer makers, continue to have a 5-game lead in the Central. Milwaukee is 11 over.
I saw a note on Junior Lake where he leads the major leagues in swinging and missing. 42%. That's Dave Kingman-like. Had to have a Kingman reference here at Wrigley Field.
That's true. This is one of the places that Dave Kingman hit a lot of home runs. Junior Lake apparently composing himself after that last swing. And a swing and a miss. Alvarez strikes him out. And the Cubs strand 2.
Doing everything to get each other's goat. Well, I was this one particular time when I went to bat. Charlie Root was pitching. And the first pitch ball was a called strike. Well, I thought it was outside and didn't like it very much. So the boys over there would give me this, on you. Well, the second pitch ball was another called strike. Well, I didn't like that one either, so I let it go by. Well, I stepped out of the box, and by that time they were over there going crazy. And I looked out at center field and I tore it. I said, I'm going to hit the next pitch ball right past the flagpole. Well, the good Lord must have been with me.
Babe Ruth's called shot. And the best part is watching Ruth as he rounded first and there as he headed to third, pointing to the Cubs dugout saying, sit down.
Yeah, see, guys, obviously Charlie Root was not a nibbler. He went right after him with an 0-2 pitch.
Ed Lucas, Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee.
That's great.
You wonder if in Ruth's long and glorious career, if there was a similar at bat where another team was on him and he pointed somewhere, right field, center field, and then struck out. And people forgot about it.
Yeah, I'm sure there were.
Because he didn't homer.
And there has been a speculation as to the validity of that story. Did he really point? I mean, Babe talks about it. You heard him.
I think that there are some photographs that show him gesturing out towards the outfield.
And some say he was gesturing toward the pitcher. So it's in question, but you know what? It's a great story.
And I think he downed like 7 hot dogs before the at-bat. Here's the 3-1 to Lucas. And it's a little dribbler up the third base side. Valbuena's throw. He's safe. Lucas beat it. And Miami has a base runner to open up the 4th inning.
That's how you're going to have to try to hit the ball on a day like today. Keep it on the ground This high chopper stays in the infield. Valbuena with a good attempt, but Ed Lucas with the leadoff base hit. Some say that Babe Ruth was pointing to the hot dog vendor out in center field.
Give me 2.
I'll take 2.
Stan struck out back in the first. Time is called. I'm not sure why. Emilio Bonifacio out at second, motioning to John Baker. The Marlins, the National League leaders in infield hits.
That's an interesting number because the Marlins don't have a lot of speed. And you usually equate that with a lot of speedsters.
Yeah, the Marlins are dead last in stolen bases. Stan 1 for 11 with 7 strikeouts in this series for whatever reason. And that swing is one of the reasons.
Yeah.
You pointed towards the left shoulder yesterday, and especially on breaking balls.
It just leaves a little bit too soon. And I'll tell you what, Giancarlo right now, he'll look forward to the day off, and he'll look forward to the Texas Rangers. But we did his last 2 at-bats yesterday. He had terrific swings with the line drive double and the ball to center that he almost hit out.
There's Lucas. Here's the 2-1.
Hard in, breaking balls away.
Well, he struck him out with a breaking ball, and that was with Yelich at third and 1 out in the first. There's the breaking ball, and he didn't miss it, but he pulls it foul, and he busted his bat in the process.
Probably didn't get it away far enough because with him ahead in the count a little bit, wanted to probably get that breaking ball off the plate. That ball was scorched.
We saw Stanton this year break his bat in half and hit a ball to the warning track and left at Marlins Park.
We saw Stanton shatter a bat, and the bat head came and plucked Casey McGee in the on-deck circle, too.
Yeah, that was a very fortunate night in that McGee was not seriously hurt, because McGee afterwards said he never saw it. He was following the ball, and it came back so fast he had no time to react. Stanton, a grounder in the hole at short. Castro, Bonifacio, and they get the double play. Cubs turn it. And there are 2 outs for McGee.
Well, Arrieta was able to make his pitch. The scoop by Castro. And the 6-4-3 double play.
McGee was called out on strikes with Yelich at third and 2 outs. And on Fox Tracks, we were unable to show it, but it was outside. McGee put up an argument. Redmond came out and rescued McGee from getting tossed. Ball and a strike. Out to Bonifacio. Arrieta is cruising to the bottom of the 4th. In a scoreless game. The Department of Transportation, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Visit us at Publix.com, or your South Florida Chevrolet dealer. We check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Dub.
Hey, Rich. Anthony Rizzo, the South Florida native, set to lead things off here for the Cubs. In the first game of this series, he had the game-winning walk-off home run, but his biggest impact may have come with a walk. In the offseason, Rizzo held his second annual walk-off for cancer. The event raised $100,000 with the money going to Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital. Rizzo was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2008, and December marked 5 years cancer-free. So they did a 5K for 5 years cancer-free and raised $100,000 for cancer research.
Yeah, it's pretty slick. You know, the other day I was driving through Parkland, drove by Stoneman Douglas High School, and there was a group of advertisers up on the fence outside the football stadium, and Anthony Rizzo's foundation had a banner up there.
You know what? It's just tremendous when young players have the opportunity and then take that opportunity to give back.
It's one of the most impressive things that we saw last year about Jose Fernandez. Fernandez just incredible with kids in the community. And a lot of the stuff that Jose did last year wasn't on television, wasn't talked about. But it seemed like every other day, Jose had a group of kids following him around on the field at Marlins Park. Starlin Castro takes inside. Alvarez, as we've noted, is one of the more unique pitchers you'll run into. He has a style all of his own. If you ask someone, who does he remind you of, I think you'd have a hard time coming up with anybody. McGee across the diamond in time. So Castro is out. A pair of ground ball outs to open up the bottom of the fourth. America's new sports network is the place to turn for every slam, goal, every game. It's America's pregame show. It's only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tune into America's pregame weeknights, 6 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. To find Fox Sports 1 on your cable satellite provider, go to foxsports1.com.
He came with that slow curveball, and there was the big swing by Valbuena. Not too often do we see a hitter swing at that pitch. Here it is.
I wonder if these two guys are friends, because they're both Venezuelan, and it seems like there's something going on between the two. Valbuena to right, into the corner, and it's a fair ball, but it didn't get out.
Well, they're talking to each other right now. It's a friendly conversation, but Henderson Alvarez was out by second base, and there was a quick conversation. Look at it this way. The score would be 1-1. Garrett Jones's ball and Valbuena's ball each would be out on any other day.
And look, Valbuena's smiling at Alvarez. He's stunned that this didn't get out.
That's exactly why it's the kind of day where, and both pitchers are doing it, just those strikes, get it right there and say, hey, here, hit me, because if you hit it in the air, it's not going anywhere.
Here's Schierholtz. He takes a strike. Couple hits in game one of the series. Schierholtz, a former San Francisco Giant. Center field, Ozuna is there, and he makes the catch. Alvarez, 4 scoreless. Arrieta, 4 scoreless.
fans made it so much enjoyable and easy to go out and play. As the opposition, you know, they would ride you, harass you a little bit, throw beer on you every now and then, but playing before them as one of the Cubs players, how enjoyable it was. Yeah. The difference was like night and day.
That was our Geico quote. Andre Dawson's flag up, kind of hung up on the wind. The fans out in the bleachers, and you can see the bleachers right there. As Tommy pointed out, shorts, shirt sleeve, sunshine. But man, if you're in the shade, and we are in the shade ourselves, you have to be bundled up against this wind. There's Jones, who blasted one to right, and it ended up right almost by that green door out in right center field, in the glove of Shearholtz. Ozuna and Real Muto will follow. That wind that you hear in the microphones is not from a crowd mic. That's from our mics.
Yeah, because you can see the flags, and the wind is blowing. I don't want to say directly at us, but we're close to that wind pattern.
I don't know about you. I've got 3 layers going.
Kind of unexpected, but I think we were semi-prepared. And then the thought of going to Texas, and I think it's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow. But extreme thunder showers, I've heard, too, in Texas. So that might interfere with the golf or Six Flags.
Swing and a miss. Garrett Jones strikes out. Off day tomorrow in Texas for the Fish. Let's hope the rain holds off. And then on Tuesday night, Marlins Live, presented by your South Florida Honda dealers. It's an email and Twitter Tuesday. It's Tom Kohler against Colby Lewis.
Yeah, the Wednesday matchup. Jacob Turner goes for the Marlins, and the Marlins will get a look at Yu Darvish.
Ozuna down the right field line. The wind is blowing it, and it blows it all the way into the seats. So we've seen the wind do a few things. It's blown pop flies into the grandstand. That fly ball probably stays fair.
See the Marlins fan. The fan had it. He dropped it. He's upset. Nate Shearholtz is kind enough to toss it back to the seats.
And the Marlin fan
gets the ball from Shearholtz. And it goes, here, buddy. It's all yours. Look at that. Look at that.
Now, if they're not buying him beers for the rest of the game, there's something wrong. The Marlin fan.
Yeah, good job. See, a good example for his son.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now he's coming back down. And look, he's going to give it to the little boy.
Oh, now that's even better.
This is the story that just keeps on giving.
One good deed deserves another.
Do you think the kid will give it to his sister?
No. It's mine now.
Two very kind gestures. And Ozuna goes down swinging. And Jake Arrieta has been outstanding for the Cubs. This copyright telecast is presented by the authority. The Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
Marlins have struck out 31 times now in this series.
Real Muto swings and misses. As he got to the big leagues, many pronounced his name Real Muto, but I asked him today and he said Real Muto. Breaking ball misses away. And it's a ball and a strike. And of course, he had a big debut in St. Pete. Had a couple of hits, drove in 3 in his big league debut. Also caught that ball game. Justin Bour was the DH, and Bour will probably see some time in Texas.
Yeah, there'll be some lineup changes because of the DH. So it allows Mike Redmond to do that. The other thing about Real Muto is Jacob Tyler is his name. He signs Jacob when he signs his autograph. But most around baseball, teammates alike, he's JT.
Arrieta with a count 3-2 right now. Arrieta has struck out 7 already and given up just the 2 hits. Yelich's single in the first, Lucas's infield hit in the fourth. Real Muto hits it to left, and the wind immediately catches it. Coughlin snares it. More on historic Wrigley when we return. Tommy and me. Well, it opened in 1914. Fenway actually opened in, I believe, 13. Passenger pigeons were still around, but not for much longer. They were the last the last of them went in September of 14. A Triple Crown winner had not been named until Sir Barton in 1919. Here's Coughlin, and he takes the first pitch into the air. Echeverria, with the wind blowing it all the way over to third, makes the catch. What else is younger than Wrigley Field? Lindbergh had yet to get across the ocean. Penicillin. No penicillin. The 19th Amendment. Women could come to a ball game, but they could not vote. Uruguay won the first World Cup. That wasn't until 1930, and then there was a list of countries that were not countries.
That's fun to look at that. So you had to be careful and not get sick at Wrigley Field. No penicillin.
I'm not even going there. John Baker hit a seed that Casey McGee caught at third base back in the third. And Baker drills one to right field. And a base hit.
With the two batters in this inning, 14 of 17 first pitch strikes from Henderson Alvarez. And John Baker's hit 2 balls on the nose, as has Emilio Bonifacio today.
Now Bonifacio has a pair of hits. Alvarez has given up 4. Remember, Arrieta tried to bunt back in the third with Coughlin at first, and Alvarez, so good off the mound, pounced on it and got the out at second. You've got Baker running at first. Arrieta squares. There's the bunt. Alvarez pounces. Out there. Arrieta runs well. Alvarez is upset with himself that he didn't give Echeverria a better feed to throw on. You can see him muttering behind the mound.
Well, the other thing, too, John Baker got a really good jump, and he gets on Echeverria in a hurry with a pretty hard slide, and he was going to upend Etch. But once again, you see the ability, the footwork, how Alvarez gets himself in position to make that strong throw, and then gets the throw. So each time he gets that lead runner and leaves the pitcher running the bases.
Now Bonifacio has hit 2 line drives, 1 to right, 1 to left for base hits.
I think next spring training, just have Henderson Alvarez lead the pitchers in PFP.
Pitches by inning. He's only at 53. Well, I gave you my theory on that about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Pitchers fielding practice in spring.
Oh, I threw in my 2 cents. Most of the time it's probably a waste.
For guys that are good at it, it is a waste probably. But for the guys that aren't, let them stay out there a while.
More work.
Yeah.
Detention. After school.
Ball's in the dirt. Bonifacio with the count 1-2.
A guy who's in town, I don't know if he's in the Cubs dugout, but used to be the Marlins catching coordinator, Tim Cousins. Worked with Real Muto a few years ago, and certainly knows his ability behind the plate. You know, just watching him shift over, make that play on the pitch before. So you know that Tim Cousins, who's now part of the Cubs organization, can certainly appreciate a young guy who he worked with in the early years getting to the big leagues.
Another line drive. He's hit one to every field now. Left, then right, now center. Bonifacio is 3 for 3.
It's a pretty good pitch, too. It was down, it had movement. He didn't try to pull it, and right back up the middle. So some good ABs from Bonifacio today.
Cubs have something going. Now, this has been an interesting battle. Junior Lake's big swing against Henderson Alvarez. Alvarez broke his bat in half in the first and then struck him out in the third.
Yeah, I've been watching, and we've had a couple of chances to watch Arrieta run. He actually runs the bases pretty well. He has decent speed.
And you've got dynamite speed in the trail runner with Bonifacio at first. There's no wonder that his shirt is halfway unbuttoned after that swing.
Well, you got a buttoned up Henderson Alvarez today.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, that's a different look.
He's usually either unbuttoned or he's misbuttoned with the one.
I think it was in respect of the throwback uniform.
Lake gets into this one. Center field. Ozuna. Wind has it. Holds it. And Ozuna catches it. 5 scoreless for both pitchers. On a Throwback Sunday, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Wrigley Field, the Marlins and the Cubs have actually gone all the way back to the dead ball era, apparently. 58 degrees is not accurate. There is a real chill in the air. A 25-mile-an-hour wind coming in from left. It's chilly. Just ask Allison Williams. Hey, Dub?
It is, and especially breezy here on the rooftops. You know, the best seat in the house when you come to a Cubs game might not even be in Wrigley, but across the street from one of the rooftops. People have been watching games from here as long as Wrigley's been here, but back then it was more grab a stool and go on your buddy's roof and watch the game. They didn't bring the structures and the bleachers you see until around the 80s when things became very popular. Of course, it's been a back-and-forth relationship with the bleacher owners and the Cubs. 2002, the Cubs sued them. They settled, agreeing to share a portion of the revenue generated. But really a great way to take in a game at Wrigley, even though you're not really at Wrigley. Ben here is doing just that. Ben, what brought you out to the game and enjoying the bleacher seats here?
Well, we came out for my cousin Brian's 32nd and cousin Manny's 30th birthday to come out just for the game, and we're getting a great game aside from the 5-game winning streak they're already on.
A nice way to watch a game at Wrigley, even though you're not in the ballpark. It's kind of a fun atmosphere out here in the bleachers.
Oh, absolutely. This is the numerous times I've been on this rooftop, and it's a great view, and it's just phenomenal being able to watch baseball with the sun out and drinking wonderful beverages.
Absolutely. Teresa's doing the same out here in the bleachers as well. Teresa, what do you like about watching the games from the bleacher seats?
You see everything. It's great people watching, beautiful weather with the best fans in town. Little mom in the hospital. Hey, Josie.
A little bit of everything out here. So the rooftops, a nice way to check out the game, and very, very breezy today, guys.
Yes, it is. What's on the menu out there, Allison? I know that the beverages are great, but I've been told that some of the cuisine on the rooftops is pretty exquisite.
Well, that's what's kind of cool about here. So you've got the bleachers, which there's a few levels up, but then below is what they call a clubhouse, and that's indoor, and that's where they've got the food and the drinks, and then next door, those are actually the oldest rooftop bleachers in Wrigleyville, and they've got a whole setup there as well. These tickets, guys, usually sell out. Today it's actually a general admission. They're about $100 and up, but usually you have to buy them as a big group. That's what happens oftentimes. Today was a general admission here at the Skyboxes on Sheffield, but they sell out quick. You can't buy them day of, though, so keep that in mind. You got to buy them always in advance with any of the rooftop. And
$100 is all you can eat and drink, is that right?
I don't know about that. Is it all you can eat and drink once you're in?
Yes.
It is, yeah. So that's a pretty good deal then. What'd you eat today?
I've had a hot dog and a bratwurst.
How was the food here?
The food is fantastic. I'm about to go for a burger next.
Yeah, the burgers look good. That's what we got over here. Burgers, chips. Looks good.
Very nice. Tough job Allison Scott out there, huh? Good at bat by Echeverria as he hangs in there, and Arrieta comes in with a fastball.
Yeah, if you think of some of the old 70s circular enclosed stadiums, the Vet and Three Rivers, that would kind of be like an upper deck right field seat up in that area.
With all you can eat and a party clubhouse below.
No, not quite the food, probably.
Edge.
Maybe Allison could pack up a couple of those burgers and bring them back.
It is all you can eat.
Yeah.
Count full.
It's been a good at bat for Echeverria.
Been a good day for both pitchers. Jake Arrieta has struck out 7 in 5 innings, 2 hits. That is going to die in the wind, and we'll see if it's Castro or Bonifacio. It's Bonifacio who makes the catch. The ball started out in left center field and ended up on the first base side of second.
I think Coughlin initially called for it.
Season ticket prices with the flexibility of coming to the ballpark when you want with as many people as you want. Those are the new Marlin Flex Packs. Get 20 ticket vouchers starting at just $13 a game. Pick up your Flex Pack today, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com.
This is a game, Rich, that other ball players around the league, when they're checking in on the score, how's that Marlins-Cubs game going? They see the score, they're saying, well, the wind must be blowing in. And it is.
Alvarez into left field. He's got 3 career hits here now.
Well, remember in his 1-0 complete game win against Tampa Bay, he had a base hit in the inning in which the Marlins scored. Tried to help himself. He's trying to do the same thing here.
So Alvarez is on. And when the Marlins made that trade with the Blue Jays, there were a lot of names that fans had not heard of. And Alvarez was one of those guys. You looked at the year that Alvarez had in 2012 in Toronto, and nothing special. I mean, he actually gave up a ton of home runs. I think he gave up 24 homers.
Yeah, he was 9-14, had an ERA 4.85.
Yelich takes a strike.
But he had thrown 187 innings, so he was fairly durable.
And, of course, he had the shoulder issue in spring training of last year. Once he got loose and healthy, his ERA was 3.69 in 17 starts with a 5-6 record. Yelich swings and misses.
That's a good pitch that Arrieta's had working for him today. A good slider, both to right-handers and lefties.
That's one thing you forget about when they do the wave here at Wrigley, which they're doing right now. The people in the rooftops actually do the wave along to correspond with the people in that section. No wave. There's a lot of people that are firmly against the wave, Tommy. It's old school.
Yeah, I don't think the wave is appropriate on a day that the ball clubs are wearing throwback uniforms.
Now watch the rooftops. That's awesome. I'll bet you even in the clubhouse down below and the indoors, the folks might be waving as well. 1-2. High chopper, and it's wide of first.
How about Allison? Was she doing
right
the
here.
wave? Was she doing the wave up there?
I did.
It's coming back in about 15 seconds. Although it's losing its momentum right now. Many of the protesters protesting the wave have had an effect. Alvarez at first. Yelich waits. Slow tapper towards second. Out there. Safe there. Yelich has excellent speed. Allison's still making friends up there. Did you find a couple burgers?
I got pulled pork.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
A little coleslaw on there, some chips, as long as the wind doesn't blow it away.
And you got a Cub buddy there who's...
Yeah, that's my buddy Frank, right? Yes. This is Frank. He was nice enough to let me come join him here. So I want to make it clear, though, these are Frank's beverages, not mine. The food is mine. The beverages are Frank's.
I know that. We know that.
Since you may have a co-host with Frank out there. Lucas now, infield hit, and he bounced back to the mound. Yelich, remember, was running in the first when Lucas bounced out, and then followed that with a steal of third base.
You would think that Yelich would try to get himself in scoring position here, too.
Oh, this is, and we talked about this from the outset of the game. This is a low-scoring, little ball, do the right thing kind of game. As heavy as the wind is, as thick as the infield grass is, this is the type of game we expected. And Arrieta, not a guy that holds runners quite well at all. Yelich is running. Baker's throw, and he is safe. Bonifacio tried to sell it, but Yelich has got the bag, and the Marlins have a runner in scoring position. Bonifacio ended up all the way like 15 feet from third base. headed towards the dugout.
Well, the throw a little bit shortstop side. On the other side, I think it gets Yelich, but Christian Yelich with that hand extended right there is able to get to the bag just before that swipe tag. Hand on bag, and there's the tag right on top of the hand.
You know, the Cubs just did something that I think some teams are going to start to do a little more of. They actually sent Anthony Rizzo to the mound to stall for a little bit. I would expect for them to look at the replay. Now, by rule, the manager has 30 seconds to come out. But I think the Cubs, as a team, were trying to take maybe 20 of those seconds and stall for a little time on the field.
A little strategy.
Outfield is exceptionally shallow, which adds to the intrigue here if Lucas hits a liner into the outfield for a hit.
Well, the best arm out there is in right field, Nate Schierholtz.
Maybe the one you would probably run on the most is out in left field.
Yeah, I think either way, anything into the outfield, you're going to be running and try to score Yelich.
Cubs bullpen is active. James Russell. He's got the old school socks. Got the beard. I don't think they had the hair that long back then, though. There were no mullets back in the 40s or the 30s. On the ground to Castro. And in time to get Lucas. Marlins done in the 6th, but not Allison and her buddy.
Chicago. Owner Wrigley is justly proud of this ballpark. In the center field bleachers, an area has been reserved for 200 patients from the Army's Vaughn Hospital in Chicago. A capacity crowd turned out to welcome the Cubs back to Wrigley Field. They're going to see Paul Dizzy Trout of the Tigers start against their Cubs. Trout shows some of his favorite grips on the Spalding National League ball.
This terrific stuff that John Sulzer and our crack staff have unearthed. That's from the 1945 World Series. We saw Babe Ruth's called shot earlier, 100 years Actually 101 years now. This is the 101st season, but a 100-year anniversary this year, celebrated by the Cubs and their fans. Anthony Rizzo, Starlin Castro, and Luis Valbuena here in the 6th. Henderson Alvarez has struck out 4. Alvarez has 6 ground ball outs. He's struck out 5 as he gets Rizzo.
Boy, he just continues to pound the strike zone. And if you think about it, remember his last game, that shutout, the 88 pitch performance, was a 1-0 game. So once again involved in a close battle.
Castro has bounced out, struck out. Six ground ball outs for Alvarez to go with his 5 strikeouts. 7 strikeouts, 8 ground ball outs for Arrieta. It's amazing to watch some of the swings here. I mean, Castro and Lake, on a day where I don't know that they could hit it out if they ran into one. But that's not stopping him. Crushes one. It's going to get in the gap. Down it goes, and into the ivy it goes. Well, a much better swing and a much better result for Castro. And the Cubs have a runner in scoring position with 1 out here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, I was about to say that they are not old school swings, but more on that ball. Castro, and one of the few times, if not the first time, the Cubs have had a man in scoring position with less than 2 outs.
Well, here's Valbuena. This has been an entertaining matchup between Alvarez and Valbuena. Alvarez struck him out in the 2nd. He threw one of the lollipop breaking balls, and Valbuena then doubled off the wall and right. Here's a look in a little super slow-mo of the 59-mile-an-hour curveball.
That looked like slow pitch softball.
And that's coming from a guy that lives at 94, 95 with his fastball and throws a 89 to 90 mile an hour changeup. Ground ball. Jones has it, spins. Alvarez safe. Alvarez off the bag, and he's hurt. Alvarez is hurt on a wild throw by Jones. He tried to get the bag with his leg, and he is hurt. And that did not look good.
You know, sometimes when you're so athletic, you try to make a play when it's not there. And with the flip being high from Garrett Jones, and they were trying to rush it because Valbuena was getting up the line, Alvarez tried to hang on, and boy, he just does not look good. It's going to be ruled a base hit.
Well, he's pitching so well right now.
And to his credit, by the way, the other thing he did, he realized Castro was at second base. Too far away to underhand flip. When you're that far away as a first baseman, you've got to go overhand with the toss. Because what's going to happen? It's going to go up in the air like that. So Garrett Jones was far enough away that should have been tossed overhand. A little better chance. He still tries to make it. Look how high he gets up in the air. And then the alertness to realize Castro was at second, maybe going to the plate. After this shot, he gets up and looks toward the plate.
Alvarez trying to keep himself in the ball game. You can see him trying to make sure that it feels all right to squat. I would expect he'd throw some pitches just to see if He feels all right. The last thing you want to do for a pitcher with a leg injury is let him continue to pitch, because that puts a different strain on the arm or a shoulder.
Yeah, he may adjust, and then all of a sudden the strain goes somewhere else. I don't think they liked the way that first toss was.
No, and Alvarez is coming out of the ball game. A big blow to the Marlins here. And the Cubs are going to come out of this with runners at first and second, and they don't have to face Alvarez with one out in the 6th inning in a scoreless game. Garrett. Henderson Alvarez because of an apparent injury, and Jennings takes over. Today, on a Throwback Sunday, we are looking back at the 101 years of baseball here at Wrigley Field. Let's go to the first night game at Wrigley Field.
Monday, August 8th, 1988, the night thousands of people in Chicago and across America have waited for. The first night game in Wrigley Field. Former Cubs announcer Jack Brickhouse is the MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, here tonight, age 91, to officially turn on the lights at Wrigley Field is Cubs fan Harry Grossman. Harry, welcome.
And now for the big moment as Harry Grossman goes for the light switch.
Be ready, fans. 1, a 2, a 3. Let there be.
The 91-year-old Grossman first attended a game at Wrigley Field in 1906 at the age of 8, and he had the privilege of turning on the lights, which consist of 26 panels on 6 stands overlooking right and left sides of the field.
One of the unique things about the lights here, there are no lights in the outfield. So all the light comes from the first baseline, the third baseline, and behind home plate. Obviously, there's no light standards out there, which makes for some interesting shadows at times.
Yeah, it's not the same brightness that you see normally when you have lights that are in the outfield areas. And you saw the MC of that ceremony, Jack Brickhouse. We saw a shot of the right field foul pole earlier where it says, "Hey, hey," and that was one of his signature calls. Jack Brickhouse, longtime Chicago Cubs broadcaster.
For the Marlins return home, the Pirates will be there, and Saturday is a Saturday spectacular. Pirates and Marlins, all-you-can-eat seats, just $27. Unlimited KM beef franks, peanuts, popcorn, nachos, Pepsi soft drinks, and Aquafina water after the game. There's a live concert on the West Plaza. Marlins.com, the place to go. This has become, Wrigley Field actually in the last few years has become a very popular place for concerts. Pearl Jam had an epic show here that was delayed by rain last year, and they went all the way till 2 in the morning. The Zac Brown Band has a big concert here coming up in September.
I got the inside on that because my sons were here.
I worked a game that I think a couple weeks before with Sean Casey, and he was all excited about it.
Yeah, big Pearl Jam fan.
At the corners now, and Jennings against Shearholtz. Infield looks for 2. And Jennings tries to get out of this jam.
Well, Mike Redmond making the move to the left-hander because you have Shearholtz, Coghlan. Of course, Rick Renteria can counter with some right-handed bats.
So there was no error on the play. It was an infield hit for Valbuena. As a first baseman, you buy that, no error?
I think the good throw had him beaten to the bag, so Valbuena gets a little bit of a gift.
Brian Morrison, Miami's pen. And Shearholtz takes out. For Jennings, he's got another lefty on deck in Coghlan, though Jennings is not a lefty matchup guy. Marlins really don't have a lefty specialist in their pen. Lefty's hitting .250 against Jennings. Wind is going to push that foul by a great margin, and into the street it goes. It's right around where the team buses park.
This is where, after a swing like that on a fastball, you see if Dan Jennings can bury a nice slider and get Shearholtz to chase it.
Ground ball by Jones and into the bullpen and down the line, and it's going to score a couple. Valbuena on his way home. Shearholtz pulls in with 3. And a tough 6th inning for Garrett Jones at first base.
Well, the tough part, those 2 runs are charged to Henderson Alvarez, and that breaks that streak of 26 and a third scoreless innings that he had. Boy, just over the bag. He got the slider. Ball took a hop over the glove of Jones. Give credit to Shearholtz, who gave the left-hander a good battle.
Infield in a 2-0 game.
Job for a squeeze.
Coghlan takes a strike. Shearholtz gets a triple. Coghlan swings and misses. It's 0-2. Still only 1 out. And it gets by Real Muto, but it bounces right back to him.
We talked about all the room behind home plate. It was in the ballgame yesterday when Randy Wolf threw a wild pitch. And you see how it curves. But if it's directly behind home plate, it comes right back to the catcher. In this case, Real Muto is ready for it. And Shearholtz doesn't take the bait. He held his ground.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Henderson Alvarez was going so well. He had struck out Anthony Rizzo to open the inning. Starlin Castro doubled to left center. And then Valbuena hit the ground ball to Jones's right. His toss was high, and Alvarez was injured trying to field it at first. Jennings arrives. Shearholt's a sharp ground ball, then it hops by Jones's glove into the corner for a triple. Left hip strain for Henderson Alvarez. 2-2. Ground ball. Lucas has it. Play comes home. Real Muto in a rundown with a speedy runner in Shearholtz, and McGee tags him out. And the Marlins choke off that run at the plate. Nicely done by Ed Lucas and JT Real Muto.
Yeah, nicely done because they got it done quickly, and Coghlan couldn't move on to second base. So it starts with the play by Ed Lucas to come up. Good throw to the plate. And now Real Muto back to McGee, and McGee closes the gap and puts the tag on the runner quickly.
John Baker has had 2 good swings today. Line to third for an out, line to right for a hit.
Oh, we told you at the beginning of the game, in the 16 starts that Baker's had, the Cubs are 9-7. He'd like to make it 10-7 in his 17 starts.
Cubs bullpen up. Brian Schlitter. Jennings trying to keep Coghlan close. Wind continues to howl here at Wrigley. Home games 6-1 when John Baker's behind the plate.
Well, we mentioned it the other night. He's getting more opportunities with Wellington Castillo on the disabled list.
Breaking ball misses away. There was an announcement just moments ago that they've changed one of the plays to an E3. And it was the throw from Jones that was high, in which Alvarez was injured. So that's an error, an E3.
You know, and it's been a pretty good defensive series. That's the first error for the Marlins here in Chicago. But I think the right call.
Runner goes, swinging a foul tip. If you're just joining us, here's a look at the play with Castro at second, Valbuena, and Jones's throw way high, and Alvarez strains his hip as he lands, trying to make the catch. And it looks like it's the left side that is giving him the most pain. Left hip strain. Baker with a count 2-2. And strike 3 called outside corner. But the Cubs break through and the Marlins lose Alvarez. And a 2-0 Chicago lead.
One loss, 2 this year. Higher in run average. The pitch. There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. It is a home run. 3-0 Cubs. There's a kid across the street with the souvenir. What a blow. The back row of the left field stands right onto the street.
Dawson sends one deep to left center field. James back, and he'll watch this one sail out. Dawson has hit his second home run of the day. A tremendous blast over the back fence. And the Cubs now lead 4-2.
There's a drive, and the left field going back in the walk with James. It might be hit it! A home run! Holy cow! His 31st home run! His 3rd of the game! Look at him! The crowd is wild!
You didn't think we could celebrate 100 years at Wrigley Field without a little Andre Dawson, a 3-homer game, and a little Harry Carey.
That was, did you notice the hawk? No bat flip, head down, just circle the bases in a professional manner.
Well, both starters are out now as Jake Arrieta goes 6 innings.
And we'll be sure to tell Hawk when we see him back in Miami that none of those would have been out today.
For as many home runs as he hit as a Cub, I'm sure there were plenty of days where he hit some balls that didn't get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure he had a few home runs, more than a few, that were taken away by the wind here. Stanton drives it center field. And
not going anywhere.
Lake makes the catch. Not today, not with 25 miles an hour coming in from left center. So Arrieta, 6 innings, 3 hits. Did not give up a run, didn't walk anyone. He struck out 7.
Well, that's his best outing of the season.
And he threw 93 pitches. Alvarez 5 1/3, 8 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. No walks, 5 strikeouts. Alvarez threw 69 pitches. McGee in this ball game is 0 for 2. The Marlins have just 3 hits. One of those was Anderson Alvarez in the 6th inning. 3 singles, that's it.
Well, there's no wind involved between the Mariners and the Rays at the Trop. But there's no score. King Felix in 7 innings. He's out of the game now. Gave up just 4 hits and had 15 strikeouts. Chris Archer, 6 1/3, 5 hits, no runs. So the bullpens have taken over, but no score in that game. And Felix Hernandez had 15 strikeouts.
McGee walks. And so he's at first. Catch every strikeout, every game ender, every history-making moment on MLB Whip Around, weeknights 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Garrett Jones comes up. I'm sure no one feels as badly about the injury to Alvarez as Jones does.
Yeah, it's one of those tough feelings, because you know deep down, you know if you made a good throw to Alvarez, number one, you would have gotten out. Number two, he wouldn't have had to stretch. But those things happen. You put it aside, and now you got to try to get yourself a hit and help the club get some runs.
Jones really clobbered one in the second and hit it about as well as he could to right center field. And the wind just absolutely took the starch out of it. It landed in the glove of Shearholtz, and he was standing at the base of the wall about 375 feet from home plate. One and two. That's in.
The Marlins didn't lose any ground yesterday. Everybody in the East lost, and a couple of dramatic losses for the Nationals. A walk-off win for the Padres. Arizona had a walk-off win against the Braves.
That one is lined to right. Boy, Jones has barreled up 2 balls. Shearholtz hauls that one in. And with 2 outs, here comes Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, Cameron Maben for the Padres had a walk-off triple to beat Washington, but Yonder Alonso hit a 9th-inning home run to tie that game and allow it to go into extra innings. That was off Soriano, and Kimbrel blew the save for the Braves.
Phillies have lost again today. The Reds beat them 4-1. The Phillies are 11 under, 25 and 36. Homer Bailey gets the win. Aroldis Chapman's 9th save. Little tapper. This can be a tough play, and Valbuena's not going to make it. It's going to be a base hit. Ozuna has an infield hit, and Miami's got runners at first and second. And here comes Real Muto.
You think of the base hits today. 2 have been infield hits, Ed Lucas and now Ozuna. 1 was a sharp single by Henderson Alvarez, and then the other base hit, a leadoff single by Christian Yelich.
So Brian Schlitter taking over for Arrieta. Has a couple base runners with 2 outs. Miami's rookie catcher, JT Real Muto, who's 0 for 2, line to left his last time up.
Rich, we were talking between innings, and you had a great comment about Real Muto. And your comment was, he looks like he belongs. And there are a lot of young players that come up for little bits of time. You don't know how long they're going to stay, and sometimes they look overmatched, sometimes they look a little nervous, and I'm sure he is, but he looks like he belongs.
Well, he certainly handled himself behind the plate in St. Pete in his debut quite well. Drove in 3 runs. He's done a nice job behind the plate in this one. He threw out a base runner at third. not just any base runner, but Emilio Bonifacio.
He was alert on that pitch that was thrown away that came back to him off the backstop.
We told you he was a terrific high school quarterback. They ran the spread offense back in Midwest City. And Real Muto knew that, he said around his senior year, that baseball was the sport that he really wanted to pursue. Oklahoma State was where he was headed had the Marlins not drafted and signed him.
Where he would have been a teammate of Andrew Heaney's.
They were teammates before then, weren't they?
Little League.
Little League. 1-2 into right field. It's a base hit. McGee around third, on his way to the plate. Shearholt's throw is cut, and Real Muto makes it 2-1.
Well, not only does he look like he belongs, he plays like he belongs. And heads up if you're a base runner. Look at Marcell Ozuna. Get down and stop. Well, that ball just zipped over his head. Hit sharply by Real Muto. McGee able to score, and just like that, it's a one-run game.
He does look like he belongs. Echeverria now, first and second. Ozuna, the runner, at second. Real Muto at first. And a ball misses, and activity starts in the Chicago bullpen.
Real Muto's hit a couple of balls hard. Remember, he lined out to left field in the fifth inning.
James Russell, the lefty, is back up.
I was just thinking about it. They used to call Rick Renteria the secret weapon. And we had that shot of Reed Johnson on deck. He's the Marlins' secret weapon.
Two-0 pitch is fouled off.
Got good speed at second base.
Ramos in Miami's pen. Russell in the Cubs' pen. Schlitter on the mound. Miami down a run. And Echeverria takes low. 3-1. Ozuna can run. Real Muto has a big lead at first.
By the way, with that scoring change, the error charged to Garrett Jones, one of those runs unearned on the line of Alvarez.
Crowd here at Wrigley trying to get Schlitter through it. There's the tying run at second. Runners on the move. 3-2 home. Into right field. It falls. Base hit. Ozuna's going to score. Shearholt's throw to third. Real Muto is in, and Ozuna ties the game. And Miami has come back to make it 2-2.
Start with Ozuna, who got the two-out infield base hit. Then the nice at bat by Real Muto. Super swing by Echeverria, and just like that, a 2-2 tie. So they had trouble against Arrieta, but with Schlitter on the mound, Marlins have had much better approaches and swings.
Chris Bosio, the pitching coach of the Cubs, is on his way out. JT Real Muto with a big RBI hit. Adeiny Echeverria. with an RBI hit. And so the lefty Russell, joined by a right-hander. You got Reed Johnson up now. Justin Grimm is the righty. I don't know that Grimm is loose and ready to come in the ball game.
He just started throwing.
And
they're taking as much time as possible. This is when an umpire, in my opinion, needs to say, let's get going. Let's go.
They certainly didn't want to bring the lefty in to face Johnson. And had Grimm been warm, they might have brought him in to face Johnson. But as it is, it's Schlitter who will face him. And now Echeverria calls timeout for some reason at first.
Well, we've talked about the numbers of Reed Johnson when close and late. Highest averages. Look at that. Reed Johnson right near the top. Only Drew Stubbs is better.
Seventh inning or later, 2 runs or less is the definition of close and late. Schlitter to first.
9 pinch hits, 9 for 24, a home run, 8 pinch hit RBIs, and keep your eye on Reed Johnson. Very aggressive on first pitches.
With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, Miami is the best in the National League. You see the other teams, the Giants are a first place team, Milwaukee's a first place team.
The National League average, 215.
Johnson didn't get anything close, and you know, in watching Johnson as a pinch hitter, if he gets a fastball or anything close, first pitch, he's jumping on it.
What do we have the numbers? 7 for 14 this year on first pitches.
And that's when he puts it in play. Obviously on that pitch,
yeah,
he didn't offer at it. Two and 0. The last inning of this ball game has really taken a complete turn from that quick work of Jake Arrieta and Henderson Alvarez.
Now that's kind of the nature of the game nowadays. And unfortunately for Henderson Alvarez, he was forced to leave the game, but both starters were cruising, pitching well, a lot of first pitch strikes. 19 out of 23 for Alvarez.
Strained left hip for Alvarez on a play at first. That took him out of the game. 2-0 pitch. Johnson a ground ball to short. Castro a shovel in time. But Miami gets 2 and draws even. 7th inning stretch at Wrigley. 2-2. If you're wondering what the heck the Marlins are wearing, you've just joined us. The Marlins are dressed as the 1946 Miami Sun Sox. The Cubs are 1942 Cubs. Who are the Sun Sox? Well, they were a Class B affiliate of the Brooklyn Dodgers. They were originally the Wahoos for a year. They were the Seminoles. They didn't exist for 3 years. They came back as the Sun Sox. Then they became the Tourists. And then they were back to the Sun Sox. And that was at Miami Stadium, later named Bobby Maduro. And that's where the Miami Marlins would play when the Marlins became a AAA team. I believe that was 1956. A lot of players have gone for the short pants, high socks look to complete the throwback look. It's part of the celebration, 100th anniversary, 101 years of baseball here at Wrigley Field.
Casey McGee has that nice look, that throwback look.
A.J. Ramos now into the ball game in a 2-2 game, which was scoreless going into the bottom of the 6th. The injury to Henderson Alvarez on the throwing error by Garrett Jones. Dan Jennings came in, gave up the triple to Shearholtz, got the last 2 outs, and it's Ramos who's facing Darwin Barney. And Ramos falls behind 2-0.
And remember, at the onset of this series, we told you the Cubs are working with an extra arm in the bullpen, so just 4 men on the bench.
And Ramos is at 3-0 now. He's got the top of the order. Bonifacio, Lake, and Rizzo due up after Barney. AJ gets a strike. And the Milwaukee-Pittsburgh game is over. And Giovanni Gallardo, with some help from K-Rod and the bullpen, with a shutout win. Another strike. Gallardo went 7 innings, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts to beat the Pirates 1-0.
Always look to see if Gallardo got any hits, though. He was 0 for 2.
Barney pops it foul. Gallardo with the win. The Brewers are 12 over, 38-26. Marlins will see the Pirates next weekend. The Pirates are 4 under, 29-33.
How about the Cubs after this game today? The Cubs head out to Pittsburgh for 4 games, then 3 in Philadelphia, and then come to Miami for 3-game series.
Ramos on a 3-2 pitch nearly hits Darwin Barney, who was hitting 198. And so a leadoff walk here in the 7th. Since the Marlins are here in the Central, the Cubs, despite their 5 wins in a row, are still 10.5 back. And the Brewers, with their win, Milwaukee at 38-26. St. Louis wins again, 5-0.
More good pitching from the Cardinals.
They won 5-0 yesterday. Had to make sure that I was looking at Sunday's scoreboard. Let's see if the Cubs will try to push Barney up. Bonifacio has 3 hits.
The scoring on that Barney play was a hit batter. There are times, and this has to be in a relief pitcher's routine when he warms up to come into a game, but there are times when A.J. Ramos just doesn't look comfortable when he first comes into a game and starts working to hitters.
Bonifacio's bunt's a good one. McGee gets the out. And now it's Junior Lake and Anthony Rizzo who will have a shot to untie this game.
You know, we talk about that scenario with starting pitchers, but obviously a starting pitcher, if he doesn't have that good feel or is in a groove or good release point, he can kind of work through it. But a relief pitcher doesn't have that option.
Junior Lake. He of the big swing, he of the 2 home runs yesterday. Both were solo shots. That's going to be a tough play with the wind. Stanton won't get it, and it's fair. Lucas picks it off the bullpen mound. Holding at third is Barney. Any other day in this series, that's a fairly routine play and right, but with the wind at 25 miles an hour in from left, it just pushed the ball towards the line.
Yeah, it just kept pushing it and pushing it away from Giancarlo. Good job by Ed Lucas to get over there quickly and pick it up and get it back in. Now the runner at second base, Darwin Barney, had to hold a little bit to make sure that ball was going to drop, but Lucas did a good job in getting it in quickly.
And so you've got Ramos with Anthony Rizzo at the plate and just 1 out here in the 7th.
We also have first base open.
And you got Mike Dunn in the bullpen.
You got a right-hander on deck in Starlin Castro. And then the lineup of lefties.
So a bloop double and looks like an intentional walk coming up. Crowd not happy, but the Marlins would rather deal with Castro, who's had some good swings in this series. He's got 3 doubles in this series.
Yeah, remember Castro hit a line drive double his last time up into left center. You make this move, but it's a tough move because you know that A.J. Ramos has struggled with control. Remember, this inning started by him hitting Darwin Barney. So no place for anybody to go with the bases loaded.
2-2, bottom 7. Cubs are trying to sweep the fish. Marlins trying to get a win before they head to Texas. And Castro, who's 2 for 5 with 5 RBIs with the bags loaded this year, swings and misses. Now remember his last at bat, Tommy, he took a swing just like that and nearly came right out of his shoes. But his next swing, he cut down on it and popped one in the gap in left center for a double.
Yeah, that's when he hit that hard double.
So let's see if he adjusts the swing here. Middle infield's back for 2. Corners are in. And Ramos misses away. Ball and a strike. And now Ramos is out in front 1-2.
That was a pretty good pitch, and that was just an emergency swing and a foul ball from Castro. Good fastball down and away. Middle infielders thinking double play. McGee and Jones, they may come to the plate.
Got him!
Won't have to on that pitch.
Ramos strikes out Castro. 1 more to get. Valbuena's coming up.
Look at Real Muto setting up. All right, give me that pitch right there. Good pitch. Another reason that you get a feeling and you like the job that Real Muto has done. You don't notice him back there. He's just doing the job.
Now Ramos will come out of the ballgame, and Mike Dunn comes in to face Valbuena. Tie game, 2-2, 2 outs, 7th inning. And Cubs, bags are loaded. And Mike Dunn enters the ball game. Luis Valbuena is the hitter. Valbuena doubled in the 4th off of Henderson Alvarez. The story of this game includes Alvarez looking great and then getting injured and coming out of the game, straining a left hip, leaping and stretching for a play at first base.
So with the fact that, excuse me, Rich, that Renteria has a short bench, just 4 guys, he's electing to go with Valbuena as opposed to the young right-handed hitting third baseman who he can make the move with, Mike Holt.
Check swing, and they're going to say he went. Home plate umpire Marcus Patillo called it a swing. Valbuena wants at least an appeal. Hitters don't get the right of appeal, and I think he's got an argument. I don't think he went. It's a big strike to get for Dunn. Strike 1.
I don't know if I've ever seen the umpire at third or at first reverse a strike call. If the home plate umpire calls a check swing, an in-between, if the home plate umpire calls it a strike, I don't think I've ever seen that reversed by one of the base umpires.
1-1 pitch. At the same time, it's always the catcher asks or the manager asks, and the umpire as a courtesy will ask. But you're right. If a hitter, why can't the hitter ask?
It's his job. Big pitch because Mike Dunn doesn't want to go 3-1.
Cracked. Foul. Well, you had the bat head out in front of that one.
And you had the feeling that Valbuena is saying the same thing. All right, big pitch. He doesn't want to go 3-1. He's going to go fastball. Valbuena was on the fastball but pulled it foul.
Well, the whole crowd coming to their feet. So it's 2-2. A Cub at every base. And Dunn misses. Out of play. Mike Dunn in relief of AJ Ramos. Marlins down 2-0, tied it with 2 in the top of this inning. Cubs have come back to load the bases. Crowd still on their feet. Another 3-2. Runners on the move. And he lost them. And the Cubs have the lead. And so Dunn walks Valbuena.
Well, the inning started with a hit batter. He eventually comes in to score. Darwin Barney on a bases loaded walk.
Nate Shearholtz bounced out, flied out, 2-run triple. There are your Cubs all lined up. Valbuena at first. Rizzo at second. Lake had that bloop double that landed just beyond the outstretched glove of Giancarlo Stanton. One and two. Strike 3 called outside corner. Dunn strikes out Shearholtz, but he walked Valbuena with the bags loaded, and the Cubs have a 1-run lead. In this one, After Henderson Alvarez left, Nick Schierholtz with a 2-run triple, and the Cubs had a 2-0 lead.
You know, it would take something on the ground to drive in a run, but how about the at-bat and the swing of JT Realmuto? That got the Marlins a little closer. Echeverria tied it with that base hit. It became a 2-2 ball game just like that. But a hit batter early in the inning by A.J. Ramos, Darwin Barney. He came in to score on the bases-loaded walk. Boy, 3-2 ball game. We knew it would be a low-scoring game. Wind has been howling in from left field all day, and now it's Pedro Strop, the right-hander.
100th anniversary of Wrigley Field, and throwback uniforms. Pedro Strop, whom the Marlins saw the other day. Strop, who pitched an inning and finished with a flourish yesterday in the 5-2 win. He worked a 1-2-3 ninth to pick up the save. He throws hard, there's no question about that. Marlins at the top of their order: Yelich, Lucas, Giancarlo Stanton. It's the 8th. Yelich's base hit came back in the first. The Marlins had a long drought between hits. Lucas had an infield single to start the 4th, and it wasn't until the flurry of hits in the 7th that the Marlins had another one. Ozuna's infield hit and the RBI singles by Realmuto and Echeverria. And Strop doesn't look comfortable out there right now, dressed as a 1942 Chicago Cub.
Yeah, in that 9th inning yesterday, he retired side 1-2-3.
The authentic patch, the wartime patch on the jersey. Yelich walks, and the Marlins have the tying run aboard to lead off the 8th. Time for the AT&T fan photo. Tweet us your photo, just hashtag it FL fan photo, and you can be part of the telecast. And here it is, Tommy. In the cold and wind, we've waited for this. Lonnie. That must have been Ed Lucas' birthday day.
With a nice card for Ed. Very nice.
Very good work by the truck, because Ed Lucas is up.
We've also seen Christian Yelich steal a couple of bases today. Stole 3rd back in the 1st inning. Stole 2nd in the 6th.
10 stolen bases on the year. Has been caught once. Stanton's on deck. Yelich back in with a dive. In a real quiet game for the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the Marlins order: Stanton, McGee, and Jones. You look further down this inning, Stanton is 0 for 3. He's bounced into a double play, struck out. McGee has walked and is 0 for 2. Jones actually has hit the ball right on the button a couple times.
Yeah, he's had bad luck today.
Bad luck in the field and at the plate. That ball that hopped over his glove turned into a triple. Nationals have come out of the gate quickly against the Padres, putting 6 runs up on the board. Bottom of the 3rd in San Diego. Washington a 6-0 lead.
I saw where the Dodgers lost a couple of guys, had to come out of the lineup last night. Puig and D. Gordon each had hip injuries.
Lucas strikes out.
And I noticed neither in the Dodger lineup today against the Rockies. If there's one guy in the ballpark that could turn the win around to left field, it's Giancarlo Stanton. It'd have to be one of those low line drive type rocket home runs.
He hits him to all fields. His best shot is to right center, but not with a swing like that. The wind continues to come in from left at a very rapid rate, and it hasn't let up. It's been this way from the very first pitch.
Since the time we got off the bus, the team bus.
Ouch. That hit Stanton. And Giancarlo on his way to first. And so Miami's got 2 runners on. Here comes McGee. Strop does not look as sharp as he did, obviously, yesterday. He was all over the place and walking Yelich.
Well, the Cubs took advantage of a hit batter and a walk. Now it's up to the Marlins to try to do the same. Now, this is interesting because you have Rick Renteria, the manager, going out there. Nobody warming up in the bullpen. So instead of sending his pitching coach, he's decided to relay the message himself. But he's going to have to deal with Casey McGee, who still has that average coming into the game at 429. 422, excuse me, runners in scoring position.
Yelich at second, Stanton at first. McGee takes a strike. .55 singles. Let's check in with Allison. Hey, Dub.
You guys have been talking about the wind and how it's keeping the ball in. Well, for every mile per hour of wind, it's 2.5 feet gained or lost. So Richard said it's about 24 miles an hour today. That would be a difference of 60 feet on balls that are hit.
Wow. And that's obviously significant. McGee into center field, base hit. Yelich to third. Up with the ball is Lake, and the bags are loaded. Because of the wind, the outfielders, especially the Cubs, have been very, very shallow. And Lake was on this ball quickly.
And there was a pause, just a bit of a pause by Christian Yelich. The ball on the line. You know, you don't know if it's going to curl back to the second baseman, so he paused just for a minute. That may have cost him, not sure. But also the fact that Lake, the center fielder, was playing very shallow.
And so the bags are loaded. And here's Garrett Jones. Jones is 0 for 3, but he's had good swings all day.
He's got a Bob Marley at bat. Redemption time.
Well, certainly a shot at it. It was his throwing error that started the play where Henderson Alvarez was injured at first on the high toss. Here's the 1-0. Liner, left field. Coughlin is there, makes the catch. Yelich comes home. Ball gets loose. Stanton moves up. McGee moves up. Boy, another great swing by Garrett Jones, who just has barreled up 3 balls and hit them incredibly hard. So a sacrifice fly, and there's going to be an error charge to Coughlin in left on the throw.
Well, you're right about Jones. He crushes this ball. He does get the sac fly, but the throw, not a good throw at all from Coughlin in left field. But at times you need a little help from the third baseman. He didn't go get the ball.
Not much of an effort.
No, not a good effort by Valbuena.
And that puts Ozuna in a spot with runners at second and third and 2 outs. And the Cubs are going to walk Ozuna. And that pitch was almost over the plate. Ozuna needs to pay attention here, maybe pull a Miggy if he gets another one of those. And JT Realmuto, who has an RBI hit, is going to come to the plate. So the Cubs figure, let's pitch to the rookie instead of a guy that's got 39 RBIs in the big leagues. Realmuto may not have 39 RBIs. He does have 4 RBIs in 3 games. And it also puts a little more pressure on Strop here to throw strikes.
So let's walk one 23-year-old and pitch to another 23-year-old.
Catcher, JT Realmuto.
So Realmuto, who lined a single to right to drive in a run in the 7th, is up in a really big spot here in the 8th in a 3-3 game at Wrigley Field with a Marlin at every base. Bounces off the catcher. Here comes Stanton. He will score. And Miami has the lead on a bizarre wild pitch that bounced off of John Baker's mask. I don't know what you can do as a catcher to block this pitch.
No, he does everything a catcher can do. He gets down, the ball hits well in front of the plate and then comes off the mask of Baker. And the Marlins take the lead. These have probably been the last inning and a half, the ugliest inning and a half I've seen in a while.
There have been hit batters, wild pitches, walks. And now the count's 2-0 to Realmuto with Echeverria on deck.
And remember, you talked about coming into this series, one of the real strengths of the Cubs has been their bullpen. But Schlitter gave up 2 runs in the 7th, and the Marlins getting a couple here off Strop. So more activity. Justin Grimm. Remember, Mike Dunn ended the inning for the Marlins, and the Cubs have a couple of lefties coming up, Coghlan and then Baker.
Well, you're right about ugliness and innings. You just look. You look at what the teams have done. The Cubs had a total of 1 hit in the 7th in their rally. There was a hit batter, an intentional walk, a bloop double, a bases loaded walk to drive in a run. And here in this inning, a hit batter, a walk, an intentional walk, a strikeout. The single by McGee is the only hit. And of course the sacrifice fly by Jones.
Now the bottom line, you take them any way you can.
Realmuto now. And with 2 outs, Ozuna should get a great jump at second. Good take. Ball in the dirt. Full count, 3-2. Casey McGee, his single loaded the bags. Ozuna was intentionally walked. Jones, of course, had the sacrifice fly between them. And the rookie Realmuto takes a strike 3 call. Strop strikes him out. But the Marlins on top with 2 in the 8th.
Wrigley Field. 100th anniversary, a Throwback Sunday. And right now, the Miami Sun Sox are beating the 42 Cubs 4-3. 2 runs in the 8th. The Marlins 4 runs in the last 2 innings. Oldest Major League ballparks. Fenway, actually 1912 for Fenway. Wrigley in 1914. Dodger Stadium in 62. And the Big A, as they used to call it, in 66.
We'll be visiting the Big A in August, later in August.
Mike Dunn now. John Baker is on deck. And Dunn with a fastball that almost hit Coghlan. Marlins have a run and a lead to protect.
So the advantage is that you have Dunn on the mound and a couple of lefties, and I doubt that Renteria is going to pinch hit for Baker with Eli Whiteside.
No, because Baker's had good swings today.
So you get matchups in your favor. It doesn't always happen that way later in a ball game.
But Dunn has to throw strikes for all this to work. And he's 2-0 on Coghlan. Cishek and Morris, and a 3-0 count on Chris Coghlan. And that pitch is up. Coghlan walks. Leadoff walk.
You hate to just keep giving the opposition gifts. And that leadoff walk late in the game when you have a 1-run lead is a gift.
Justin Ruggiano is on deck. John Baker at the plate. And let's see if he's bunting. He squares. Did he pull back? Nope. That's a strike. He didn't pull it back in time.
I always thought that was a real tough call for a home plate umpire.
Coghlan's at first. Baker bunting again. And Dunn misses away. So Morris and Cishek. Well, you could just hear the wind knifing right through this ballpark. Baker's bunt, a good one. Dunn fields and gets the out. Look at that. Checkers post-game show. There's the war room, so to speak, where Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson are working hard.
Busily at work. Hey, by the way, this is a game that, because we saw Cishek warming up, this is a game that you could bring him in, certainly, and get more than 3 outs because he hasn't worked in this series, and tomorrow's an off day. So if Mike Redmond ever was thinking of bringing Cishek in early, it would be a game such as this.
Would you bring him in now?
I would.
There's 1 out.
He's got both guys warming up, so that leads me to believe he might go with Morris. But he could have gone with Cishek because he hasn't pitched in this series and because tomorrow is an off day.
And since Cishek's up, he could still go to Cishek later in this inning. Morris comes in a 4-3 Marlin lead.
Here, Cubs have a runner at second. That's Chris Coghlan. Jeff Mathis comes in a double switch. Mathis is going to hit in the 9 spot. And Brian Morris enters the ball game. Morris comes in. Morris will go into Real Muto's spot, which is the 7 spot. And this is, you know, we talked about it in game 1, ex-Marlins, ex-Cubs. Here, all the ex-Marlins are all lined up. Coghlan walk, Baker sacrifice, Ruggiano is up, and Bonifacio's on deck. How about that?
Yeah. Brian Morris making his 4th appearance as a Marlin. 3 1/3 innings, giving up just 2 hits, no runs. So he's got his work cut out for him against some ex-Marlins.
And all the ex-Marlins have had good swings in this series. Ruggiano had a double in game 1. He singled yesterday. It's a ground ball to short. Echeverria has it. Looks Coghlan back, throws him out. And so we've seen 3 of the 4 ex-Marlins. We've seen Baker.
Has had good swings. Bonifacio, 3 hits today. Coghlan has swung the bat well. And Ruggiano.
Bonifacio really has swung it well today. His first at bat was a line drive hit to left. Second at bat, a line drive hit to right. Third at bat, a line drive hit to center. And for good measure, a sacrifice bunt. That was in the 7th. Outfield is not real deep, especially Yelich and Ozuna.
Tell you what, the delivery, as you watch Brian Morris, he comes over the top and gets that good sink, good 2-seamer. And it's hard. It's a heavy ball.
Bonifacio in the air. Ozuna has to come in and make the catch. And Morris finishes the inning, and the Marlins hold the lead.
Long drive, way back, it might be, it could be, it is. Holy cow! Tuffy Road has hit 2 of them of that good. Listen to this crowd.
100th anniversary of Wrigley Field. Harry Carey, still larger than life in this place. And Eddie Echeverria, Jeff Mathis, Christian Yelich in the 9th. Miami has a 1-run lead. Justin Grimm out of the Cubs bullpen. What a U-turn this game took once Jake Arrieta and Henderson Alvarez left the game. Alvarez injured on a play at first base, a strained left hip. Arrieta just simply came out after 93 pitches. He had shut out the Marlins on 3 hits and struck out 7. And so the Marlins get 4 runs off the Cubs bullpen. Strike 3 called. Echeverria is down on strikes.
And as expected in the Marlins bullpen, Steve Cishek down there. He's ready. I mean, he was throwing last inning, just trying to stay loose, stay warm, the sunshine down there.
Cishek will get the teeth of the Cubs order. Lake, Rizzo, Castro, and Valbuena if anybody reaches. Mathis, his first at bat. Terrific job by JT Realmuto. RBI single in his second major league start.
And a good job behind the plate, especially while he was handling Henderson Alvarez, too. Who had his Henderson had his shutout streak broken. 26+ innings.
The Marlins bullpen: Dan Jennings, AJ Ramos, Mike Dunn, Brian Morris. Ramos charged for a run. Dunn went 2/3, walked 2, but didn't give up a run. And Morris finishing the inning. Morris getting Ruggiano and Bonifacio. So he gets 2/3 of an inning. Alvarez, of the 2 runs he gave up, 1 was unearned. Fish trying to get to Texas. 3 games over. Mathis hits it to right. The wind's going to push that towards the line. Shearholtz over and in the corner makes the catch.
When you're an outfielder, and Shearholtz, as we have talked about this series, a very good one. In right field with that ball pushing away from you, slicing and the wind, you have to stay with it. You can't drift after it. You have to just stay with it. He did a nice job.
Here's Yelich. Marlins and the Nationals open play tied, a game back of Atlanta, tied for second.
It'll make for an interesting look at the National League East. If Washington goes on and wins their game, they have a 6-0 lead. If the Marlins win this game, and Atlanta and Arizona, Atlanta's tied right now, but if Atlanta were to lose, it'd be very interesting in that National League East.
Atlanta right now is scoreless in Arizona. That game's going to the bottom of the 5th. And Aaron Harang just gave up his first hit. So Steve Cishek is ready. He told you the big bats are coming up for the Cubs.
Good job, by the way, from Christian Yelich to lead off that 8th inning with a walk. He was patient against Strop. Eventually came in to score on the sacrifice fly hit by Garrett Jones.
It was a nightmare of an inning for Strop. He had that leadoff walk. Remember, he hit a batter. He had a key wild pitch that scored a run.
And Yelich shoots it into left field for a base hit. You could see the signs of Yelich starting to come out of it.
Back-to-back games with a couple of hits in each game.
Ed Lucas now with 2 outs.
Lets that pitch get deep near the catcher and then just unleashes with that solid swing. He can get a lot of base hits in that area between third and short. That's the Tony Gwynn area.
Yelich has a couple stolen bases in this ball game.
Yeah, and I think he's thinking about it here too.
He is running. Lucas pulls a ground ball to third. Valbuena makes the play. And the inning is over. Bottom of the ninth arrives finally on a chilly, windy day at Wrigley. Cishek with a 1-run lead to protect. They're waiting for their post-game meal. Steve Cishek is trying to deliver a win and the meal. You can follow the Marlins with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Marlins.com for details. The Marlins and the Cubs on a Throwback Sunday. Steve Cishek trying to give the Marlins a win as they head to Texas. The Cubs, a hot team. They'd swept the Mets, and they took the first 2 of this series.
Cishek trying to pick up number 14 in the save department. You mentioned the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. The 2, 3, and 4 hitters today for the Cubs. 2 for 11 with 4 strikeouts.
Junior Lake. And Cishek misses outside. Wind has been blowing in from left field all day long. Garrett Jones has come the closest to hitting one out. He blasted one to right center. That, dare I say, would have been out of any ballpark. But on this day with this wind, all it did was get to the edge of the ivy.
I think we could say the same for the one Valbuena hit down the right field line.
Yeah, that actually hit the wall.
Yeah, it was a double.
Liner, Echeverria, leaping grab And an out.
Yeah, there's so many times we see Echeverria make that leaping grab of a line drive, and the whole thing into this play is the timing, and his timing is impeccable.
Rizzo. Of course, Rizzo had 2 big hits on Friday in the Cubs win. A 2-run double that stretched the lead to 3-0, and once the Marlins tied it, Rizzo won it. Hector Rondon warming up just in case the Cubs tie the game. Rizzo walked off in the 13th with a homer to right. Cishek is out in front 1-2. One, two coming. Miami will see the Cubs next homestand. It's sort of a National League Central parade, so to speak, with the Pirates and the Cubs coming in first. The Cubs follow the Pirates on a Monday through Wednesday. It's a long homestand. Pirates for 3, Cubs for 3, Mets for 4. Rizzo strikes out.
That's one of the real keys to Steve Cishek. He has numerous weapons to put away a hitter when he gets ahead. He can go backdoor with a slider. He can go down and into a lefty with a slider. We've seen him occasionally ride that fastball up to a good low ball hitter.
Starlin Castro. That's strike 1. That's strike 2. Cishek has come in throwing strikes, throwing hard, good location. A ball and 2 strikes. Marlins have gone deep into their pen. Jennings, Ramos, Dunn, Morris, now Cishek. After 5 1/3 of Henderson Alvarez, whose start was cut short by a strained left hip. 1-2. Cishek ready. 1-2. Got him! Ball game. Marlins win it. Miami gets a game of this series, and it wasn't easy. The Marlins come from behind. They fall behind 2-0. They tie it. They fall behind 3-2. They tie it, take the lead, and hold the lead. And a lot of heroes in this one. Steve Cishek certainly one of them, as he shuts the door. A nice effort by the bullpen. Some big hits, some big plays, and a 4-3 win.